We turn now with some trepidation, although perhaps our tongue-in-cheek, to the tuneless subject of the national anthem, the Kiwis versus England Rugby League test in Denver over the weekend. You'd be generous to argue the New Zealand National Anthem is stunningly tuneful to start with. The melody, such as it is, was written by a man in a single evening to win a competition judged by 3 Australians. But it seldom sounded worse than it did prior to the test match the Kiwis went on to lose. Now, for anyone thinking the anthem put New Zealand off, the Kiwis actually started well, perhaps galvanised by the noise, getting out to a 12-0 lead but ending up losing 36-18. That means the Kiwis have won just 3 of their last 11 games. A new coach and high hopes for what he can achieve. The brand new CEO of New Zealand Rugby League, Greg Peters, tuned in to watch, hopeful as we all were, and then he heard the anthem.
Yeah, I was in my lounge at home in Wellington, and it was only my first week in the job, so I elected not to travel over to Denver with the team. I thought it was more important for me to be local and getting to grips with the job. So, yeah, unfortunately, I was sitting in my lounge with my young son watching the game and was shocked and appalled as everyone else was.
For anyone who was watching or listening who hasn't heard it, we're just going to play a little bit now. We're just going to fade it up underneath so we can revel really in the true awfulness of it. I think that's probably enough. The really good thing, I think...
It's more than enough. Could you perhaps delete it? Can we delete that everywhere? Is it possible to do that these days? Even my son could sing that better than that.
Well, I mean, that's the good thing. Every cloud has a silver lining, and now those of us who are tone deaf will be able to sing the national anthem with pride, because we can't be worse than Crystal, surely.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. And as I understand it, we've spoken to the people over there. Our people on the ground over there have obviously relayed our strong disappointment at that performance, and apparently she had rehearsed it in the changing room immediately before going on, and was tone and word perfect, and then just lost it on the field. So, but still inexcusable.
Yeah, well, that makes it. So I'm sorry for laughing because that's dreadful for her.
Yeah.
So they knew there was a bilingual Māori English national anthem. Everyone was on top of that. They knew that this was very much part of the requirements of the Kiwis playing in Denver.
Yeah, the promoters and the stadium people were across national anthem requirements, and as you probably noticed, the English national anthem wasn't that wonderful either. So she got it wrong on a couple of fronts.
Yeah, in fact, I thought she got worse as she went on. Bless her. I thought the Māori, in fact, was the high point. Yeah,
it's unfortunate for her, but obviously we've got to get the stuff right. It's not good enough for us. It's not good enough for, as a proud Kiwi, I certainly don't want to see that stuff happening, and I'm sure your listeners don't either.
And what about your players? What did they make of it all as they were standing here thinking, what the hell is this?
Well, I thought they did a wonderful job because, again, the reports from people who are on the ground and standing on the sideline lined up, listening and trying to sing that national anthem. The boys were full of voice and sang it strongly and did us proud, I think, given the tricky situation they found themselves in.
Yeah. Can we talk about the game that followed? Gosh, they started well, didn't they? But that second half, England just owned it.
Yeah. I mean, it's new for rugby league playing at altitude, and I don't think you want to use that as an excuse. But the altitude and the heat is certainly something different for any athlete to come to grips with. But I think they started with some really good signs, and I know, having talked to Michael yesterday, he was very happy. Not with the result, obviously, but with the way that the young group that he had together had responded both to the challenge of the game, but also to what he's trying to bring into the team.
And this is Michael Maguire, for people who are listening who don't know rugby league. So this is Michael Maguire. This is his first test as coach. He's replacing David Kidwell, who parted ways with New Zealand Rugby League at the end of last season after those losses to Fiji and Tonga in the World Cup. It's time to start winning, though, now, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, no one pulls on the black jersey in New Zealand and doesn't want to go out and win. So whilst there were encouraging signs, we want to get on with the job, and we've got a triple header coming up in Auckland on the 13th of October against Australia with the Kiwis, the Kiwi Ferns, and the junior Kiwis. So that's our next big event and big match, and I'm sure Michael will be working really hard to ensure we do very well in that match.
Greg Peters, who is the new CEO of New Zealand Rugby League.